Yeah, we're live. Would you like to go, Martin?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. It's about 30 minutes, and we are going to have a quick talk and a chat about the sales arguments in regards to Windows 11. And we have today joining us Morten from Microsoft and Gavin as well. So welcome. And Morten, will you begin?
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Window, PowerPoint. Let's try this. You see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you. So I'm Morten from working at Microsoft at DPS, so Device Partner Sales, which is very quickly explained the division in Microsoft selling everything else than cloud, but we're mostly responsible for the corporation and the sales of Windows Server, Teams devices, and have the cooperation with the vendors, so Dell, HP, Lenovo, etc. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the opportunity we have ahead of us with Windows 11 devices. So let me just jump to it. So I have 2 slides with a few numbers on it, and this is maybe just to emphasize the size of the opportunity that we have collectively. So first of all, 37 is the number, the percentage of the number of devices in the Nordics that are older than 5 years. So 37% of the devices in the Nordics are older than 5 years. And on the next slide, I have a weird number, but it's actually a date. So for October 14, 2025 is the day we end support of Windows 10. And now the arguments of Windows 11, I will come to that just shortly, but I think this is probably the biggest argument or the strongest argument of trying or starting to engage in customer discussions now, as we see there is huge amount of devices still out there not capable of being upgraded to Windows 11. So for the Nordics, it's around 7 million devices, meaning 7 million devices today in the Nordics run Windows 10. And due to the requirement of Windows 11, it could be a processor of a certain generation. It could be TPM 2.0. There's other requirements as well, but that's the main 2 ones. But due to the requirements that we have set for to be able to upgrade to Windows 10, there is 7 million devices in the Nordics that cannot upgrade, which means that they need to be replaced. Now we sell around 3 million devices per year in the Nordics, so we're in a hurry. And that's my main, I think, sales argument today. So we're in a hurry and we need to start talk to customers about this. Now then, what is it that we should talk to customers about? Oh, so there's a double here. But anyways, there is 3 main things I think we can start out with. One, obviously, and this is taking the kind of, let's say, the low road, and I'll come to the advantages a little bit later, but one of the impacts of the consequences of not doing anything and continuing on a Windows 10 PC is, and the first and foremost, most important one is security. We stop issuing or updating with security features as of October 14 next year. So any PC beyond that date still running Windows 10, it could be compromised. I don't think anybody wants that. And by the way, the 7 million, that's only Pro, so that's first of all, pro devices, but it's commercial devices. So sitting in business to business customers, it is not the devices that sits on the desk of in a private home. It's only business to business. So no business wants to be compromised. No business wants to risk their. Sorry, I am actually. Martin just wrote me that there are some issues with the slides, but I'm on the right. I am on the right slide. Let me see if.
We only saw the first slide, so it never.
Let me try to share again. Entire screen. So let's try that. Share that one. So do you see now?
Yeah, now you're on slide 4. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's fine. Now we're there.
Okay, good. So security is the most important thing. Nobody wants to be compromised, especially companies doesn't want it. The ransomware examples we've already seen now, where hackers kind of lock data, company data, and you need to pay a ransom to get it released. Obviously, nobody wants that. So that's, I think, the biggest, the reason why upgrading right now. There is already now. I think it's safe to say that we will see shortage in terms of shortage on deliveries of devices. It will happen. And also, we would likely see, so shortage also means, there is not enough for everybody, and then likely also price increases. Obviously this is us guessing, but we are now comparing this situation to what we saw during the COVID pandemic, where we also ran into big shortage issues and delivery times around 10, 15, 20 weeks at some point. So be aware that this will happen, and then there's a call to action here. Go to your customers, have this conversation, or start this conversation. So we have, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we have a boss in the company thinks that AI is super important. But let me talk a little bit about this, because AI will be important, and it is already an important component in the discussions you need to go have with your customers. This slide, hopefully everybody on the call already know, but we have had CPUs and DPUs for quite a few years. So, but the new part here is the NPU, neural processing unit. It's like popularly, it's the AI chip. I think maybe I think Gavin maybe is better at explaining this, but the NPU or AI chip on the device is taking over some of the AI features that run on a PC, or at least put pressure on the CPU or GPU. Today it will offload the CPU and generally get you a faster PC. Now, when we talk about Microsoft, and I think this is a very important point, there's two ways of approaching or talking about AI. One being AI on cloud, and the other one is AI on client. If you want to run AI on a client, you need the devices with an NPU. Today, it's the AI PC. That's what you can buy from Alto. I think it's already in stock. Actually, the AI PC is an Intel device running obviously a processor and an NPU. Now, AI on cloud is today, for instance, I'll skip here, is for instance Microsoft Copilot. All Copilots today, all services you require from Copilot will run through the cloud, and it will work regardless whether you have a PC with NPU or not. Now, Copilot will run faster if you have a PC with NPU, but it's not necessary. Where the exciting stuff comes is with the AI experiences that run on a PC. And one example, and I got that, I heard that a few days back. One good example of this, and it's not because you don't have it today, but in Teams, for instance, if you do blurred background, that is an AI service. But today, and I think we've all experienced that, running Teams with blurred background on a video, on a call, will put pressure on your PC, and especially if you have an older generation PC, it will really put pressure on that PC, because the blurred background then will run on the CPU, whereas moving forward with new AI devices, the blurred background effect will move from the CPU to the NPU, meaning you'll get a faster PC. But that's a very, very basic example of a service that will run on an NPU. I've put in some vendors or ISVs that are working on different AI services that will run on PCs. Obviously, Teams, Zoom, WebEx. Well, there's a lot of stuff coming on the creation side from Adobe. Productivity with Copilot, we think obviously is a super important one. Recall is coming, so as a part of the Windows experience, we have recall coming. There was an announcement a few weeks back on that. We'll see increasing security services also running locally on the device to protect the device, etc., etc. So this is just a very, very small part of this, and I think we haven't even scratched the surface on the AI experiences you'll have on a PC that are capable of running AI services locally. And then my last slide here is that what is it that we need to go do as a reseller? First of all, it's super important that we go to our customers, talk to them, and get them to identify whether they have Windows 10 PCs. We see a lot of customers telling us we don't have Windows 10 anymore. We have Windows 11 on all devices. But then when we run assessment tools, it can be endpoint analytics or others, then all of a sudden it becomes clear that they might have 10 or 100 devices running somewhere. So they're not ready for October 2025. So get that clarity with customers, super duper important. Then I think actually start talking to, and I'm skipping, but start talking to the customers also, especially the bigger ones, about the deployment model. So for the past 20, 30 years, we've been supporting the system center or SCCM deployment. So the golden image deployment model. Get customers away from that model and get them to the cloud-based autopilot deployment model, because there's a lot of advantages doing that. Better management, faster deployment, the better choices in terms of devices, because what we've seen on the legacy, say, or the old-fashioned deployment model was that IT chose one or two models, and then the users needed to go love either one of those, instead of looking at a diverse maybe multi-vendor, multi-model approach to this. So you give the employees the model they like the most, instead of the one IT like the most. And then have a talk about app compatibility. Super important, obviously, but today 99.7% of all Windows 10 apps also run Windows 11. So there should, for the most part, not be an issue of running Windows 11. And you can be quite sure that if there is an issue, the customer already know. And I think I reached the end of my presentation.
Thanks, Morten, for this run through. I think there is a lot of arguments from the Microsoft perspective in regards to why you should definitely talk to your customers about this. And now over to Gavin. The stage is yours.
Great, thank you so much. I think I'm going to kind of repeat some of the stuff that Morten said, but my name's Gavin. I represent Microsoft as a commercial master trainer. So we're just going to kind of, I think maybe kind of reiterate what Morten said, but this is kind of a really important part. So like we said, what is the top trigger for device refresh, and we have a couple of answers there. So what it is that we're looking for, obviously from a device refresh, is security, and so we want to make sure that customers are secure, and that end of support date is extremely important. But not only that, we kind of live in a world and live in an environment where there is malware, there is spyware, there is antiviruses, there is so much out there. We want to make sure that customers are secure. And so with Windows 11 Pro, it was designed from the chip to the cloud. And so whether you're using it on your device, whether you're starting up your device for the first time, Windows is protected from the moment you open your device, right? So with things like the TPM being there, with things like the encryption that is there, hardware-based isolation, VBS, all of these kinds of things that Microsoft has put into Windows 11 as a standard results in a 58% drop, or a reported 58% drop in actual security incidents. So customers should be aware of that. That's a big talking point. So we would see that leading with security is a really big opportunity to talk to your customers. And again, you're not just talking about the hardware itself and refreshing it. You might be modernizing your environment. So you might be looking at, incorporating things like Microsoft 365. You might incorporate things like the cloud storage, all of these things. And you want to make sure that your devices are secure in every single way, all the way from the actual device, from the moment you turn on your device, all the way into the cloud, and making sure that all those layers are protected, especially in terms of application identity protection. Like Morten said, TPM 2.0. So this is really important. So we have had obviously a lot of customers that might have older devices, might not have the TPM 2.0, might not have it turned on, or just not there by default. And so that's there in terms of the default protection. So that obviously includes the encryption. And so you can be sure that any Windows 11 Pro device that you buy that's brand new has that TPM 2.0 there for you. And like I said, hardware-based isolation. So again, we're enabling kernel protection. We're enabling the device to be protected from the moment you turn on your device. It is really important that customers are aware of that. And then obviously Windows comes with additional security features like BitLocker that can secure your device, and then passwordless sign and log on without using a password. So all of these things are on modern devices and modern new Windows 11 Pro devices. And we want to make sure that our customers have this opportunity to have these devices in their environment, to actually protect them from things like malware, from ransomware, from spyware, from all the kinds of attacks that are out there in today. So passwords are a huge attack point. And, moving to something like passwordless security, being able to have that level of security without having the passwords in your environment is also a huge step into securing your environment. And so, modern devices with all of the security and having the ability to have BitLocker, which obviously is, securing your device if it gets stolen or lost, and then having Windows Hello as your passwordless sign-in, and having that authentication at a different level than just being able to sign on with your password. So again, the sales argument is obviously leading with security, leading with these points of how the device is more secure, how the device is reducing the amount of firmware attacks, how the devices are making sure you're secure, not only now from the moment you have your device, but also going forward as Microsoft continues to develop security and continues to update those devices in terms of what's available. Like Morten said, what is one of the biggest drivers in terms of moving from from the current Windows device to another one? And that's app compatibility. So we get a lot of questions around app compatibility, and I'm sure that's what you get. So Microsoft has a couple of programs. If you have 150 seats or more, and you have with Microsoft 365 and you meet that minimum requirement, Microsoft can also help you or help the end customer move from the current app app you know app issue that they might have, to actually moving to Windows 11 Pro. But having said that, like we said, 99.7% of app compatibility. Like I said, there is an Aperture program that is available for certain customers that are probably larger, that have legacy applications that they might need to actually move from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So those could be a question that you have, and Microsoft does have some programs in place to help that with fast track and the app compatibility. So if you want more information, we can share you the link to that, which shows you that kind of that program. But again, customers shouldn't be put off by that app compatibility or that app being there, because 99.7% of the applications that run on Windows 10 will run on Windows 11. So customers can have this peace of mind that moving from Windows 10 to Windows 11 should be a very smooth and easy process. On average, how much faster? So again, this is a good thing. This is a good sales argument. It's around productivity. How quick can I get? What in terms of productivity do I get from Windows 11? And so again, 42% of an increase compared to Windows 10 in terms of how you get your work done. So again, we see that a 42% increase in the productivity, and that's because of certain things and certain enhancements within Windows 11. So things like Copilot, which we mentioned. So again, AI-assisted workflows that can be implemented. All of these things, so you can do smart search. So when you're looking into your search bar, you're able to find information and data and files that you're working on, and be able to collaborate a lot quicker, a lot easier. We have snap layouts, which you can easily move your applications from side to side and have your application set up very quickly and easily. We have multiple desktops, which is available within Windows 11. And you can have all of these things, and ultimately what you're doing is you're increasing the productivity of not only yourself but also of your customers, of your employees that are working on their devices. And obviously what that leads to is just more productivity and obviously getting your work done a lot quicker. And who doesn't want to get their work done a lot quicker and a lot easier than what they normally do? So it's really important to have not only the security, we have the productivity increases, and all of these things, which are leading to a great conversation around why Windows 11 Pro is such a great operating system. Like Morten said, there are eligibility requirements. This is a website that I took a snip from the Microsoft website that shows you that, again, we're not just talking about the RAM and the minimum system requirements. You'll see that there's a compatible 64-bit processor that needs to be in there. And for example, from Windows 7, there is an 8th gen and above requirement. So again, that not only is the TPM that needs to be in place, but also the generation of the processor, whether that's AMD, Intel, or Qualcomm. You need to have the correct silicon in order to actually upgrade. So again, running those tools within your environment to make sure that you can check those devices if they're eligible or not. If you're dealing with an SMB or a really small customer, there is a Microsoft tool called the PC Health Checker app that you can run on your device, and that'll give you a quick indication of if the device is eligible or not. It's a small download that you can run, but obviously with bigger customers, there's obviously different tools that you can actually run to go and see that. So not only does it require the TPM, but there's also a generation in the process that is required from being able to do that. So again, TPM 2.0 is extremely important as well. But the processor, the RAM, this is the minimum system requirements. Obviously, we want customers to have a better experience. So running newer devices or modern devices that meet a higher spec or higher requirement of those specs is obviously something that's really important to customers as well. So again, making sure that you get ahead of the curve and make sure that you have the ability to see if these devices meet those requirements is also really important. And those discussions obviously happen sooner than later. It'll make a huge difference to your overall experience with the customers. The end of support date, like Morten mentioned, it is really important. Customers might say, well, you know what, what's going to happen after this date? Obviously, we've seen in the past where Windows 7 customers kept their devices for a long period of time after the end of support date. And we can point out numerous occasions where these devices were attacked and these devices were impacted and these organizations were impacted. If I think about one of the ones that come to mind is the NHS in the UK, in London, in the United Kingdom, in England. And so the NHS was attacked and they had ransomware, and that obviously impacted the whole healthcare system because they ran Windows 7 for so long after the end of support date. And we don't want that to happen to our customers on Windows experiences. So yes, the device will work. Yes, you can turn it on and you can move and do your day-to-day work, but you are leaving yourself open for vulnerabilities because Microsoft is not patching those devices. Microsoft is not giving you those security updates. Microsoft is not doing support for that operating system anymore. So that leaves the customers vulnerable to multiple types of attacks that are out there. So not only is this end of support date a good talking point, but talking to the customers about what could happen, what could you face. And there's numerous occasions numerous incidents that you can point out that were happened within Windows 7 when the end of support date hit, and a lot of organizations, well, this is good for now, it's still working, it's still fine, but you want to make sure that maybe you can point out some of those. And it wasn't just isolated incidents in certain places. There were multiple incidents across multiple countries against multiple devices that were attacked. So having that discussion is also extremely important around why the end of support date is really important. Again, I know that a lot of pushback happens with customers saying, well, you know what, my device will work, the operating system will work, I can continue on as I need to. But again, the whole organization that you're working in, from an end user that has a home PC all the way to large organizations, really need to take this seriously because of the information that could be lost. We've seen information that could be locked down, the ransomware, in terms of data loss and protection. If you're running an unsecure operating system, that obviously leads back into your organization, and you're responsible as an organization to keep up to date with the software and with the information and with the data and protect that data, so that nothing is lost or stolen. So much like how Morten pointed out, there's a couple of things that we want to be able to do. There's a couple of things that we want to make sure that happens in the process. So assessment obviously is extremely important right now. With the device shortage, like we mentioned, being able to be a possibility with the Windows upgrades. As customers get closer to the end of support date, devices will be sold more and more customers will be upgrading. That device shortage could be impacting the customers that are looking to deploy devices. So having those assessments being done are really important. So making sure that you check device eligibility, the planning of applications that are going to be deployed. Is all the applications compatible? They should be, but you want to make sure that happens, and then make sure that there's a Windows 11 readiness plan within that organization to actually go through and actually see what it is that we need to do that. And it does take, for larger organizations, quite a long period of time to actually do all of that. There's procurement of devices, there's testing, there's POCs that potentially need to happen. So it's not just about okay, cool, today we're going to buy new devices. It really is a process of actually going through, not just checking and assessing, but planning those devices. How many devices do I need to upgrade? How many devices do I need to procure? How do we deploy those devices? cloud deployment is something that can be done really easily now with things like autopilot. And so you can actually upgrade the environment. And I think that's a really good opportunity for resellers like yourself as well, is that you have the opportunity to not only sell new devices, but you also have the opportunity to talk to customers about what they're using right now. So it's kind of like a multi approach. You can talk to customers about, yes, devices are important. Yes, we want to be able to deploy them, but are you on legacy of legacy applications? Do you need the latest in Microsoft 365, Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint? What other applications are you running? Do you want things like Power BI to make your life simpler? So there's a lot of conversations that can be had, but obviously this is the kind of a three-step approach: assessment of the environment, planning those new devices and deployments, and then obviously deployment in terms of, do you want to be able to have the latest version of Windows 11, or do you want to first test it out, test the opportunity? And Microsoft has a lot of test scenarios that you can run out as well. So it really is being able to manage all of these things, and again, manageability really easy. So if you've made all that investment in terms of running Windows 10, all of those tools and investment that you've made to running Windows 10 can be used to manage your Windows 11 device. So again, there's not going to be a huge plan or a huge amount of investment that you need to make in terms of manageability and ease of upgrade, because all of that stuff is going to be in the tools that you already have in terms of running Windows 11. And I'm sorry, I'm out of time, so thank you so much. I'll stop sharing now.
That's fine. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks, Morten. We are a bit over time here. If you have any questions, please send them through to us, to me, or to your local contact at Also, and we'll answer you as quick as we can. But the takeaway from this is enhanced performance, security, and a lot of good reasons to get out there and identify the Windows 10 units that you have or your customers have out there. So that's all for me. Do you have anything, Caroline?
No. Please answer the poll if you want to. But other than that, I have nothing to add.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.